let's talk about one of the things that really caught me off guard, and that is Voltaire. Voltaire is coming. Voltaire is right around the corner. And I have some notes about Voltaire. And the first day in the summit, I stayed in the governance track. So I was staying in that governance room and watching all the presentations there. And I was thoroughly surprised because there was a man by the name of Dr. Dor Garbash, and he was doing a session. Let me not butcher the name of his session. Let me get the exact name of his session. It was Cardano's governance model. And in that session, he dropped gems. And Voltaire is right around the corner, by the way. So there's going to be he displayed a voting app for the community. So if you have been keeping up with the latest news and events with the ITN, there was a whole debate as to whether or not the ITN should continue. And we took a community vote. There was not enough participation, so the ITN is not continuing. And Rick and I spoke about this in the previous podcast about how the user experience of the voting process was questionable. And in order to get massive community participation, you need a more seamless process. You need something that's going to make people feel a lot more comfortable, and the easier, the better. So Dr. Dor Garbash presented an app, a voting app that allows community members to basically delegate their votes or choose certain it basically gets to choose certain proposals that are happening within the Cardano ecosystem. So as we move towards the Voltaire, you're going to be able to propose projects that you want funded on the Cardano ecosystem. So you're going to be able to get community input. You're going to be able to get community votes. People are going to be able to delegate their votes to certain parties or vote themselves, directly vote. And it was this seamless app where there were just multiple different features or multiple projects happening simultaneously. And you can have the choice to choose, do I want to fund this project, or do I want to fund this project, or do I want to fund this project? And this is not funds that are coming directly from your wallet. These are funds that are added to the treasury. So every single transaction adds a little bit of money to the treasury. When staking happens, that adds a little bit of money to the treasury. So we have this entire community pot that is self-sustaining, that's going to allow us to thrive for decades upon decades upon decades. And individuals can go, once the pot gets big enough, or there's a certain amount of money or ADA in that pot, people are going to propose things to make the project better. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all developer based. It could be small projects like doing a meetup, or let's say that you have a merch idea for Cardano, or you have a business idea for Cardano, or you have a dApp for Cardano. It's everything in between. And you're going to be able to say, wait a minute, let me fund this with my portion of the vote, and click it on my mobile app. And it's as easy as that. I thought it was a seamless experience. It got me very, very excited. So I also wanted to talk about the proposal, voting, and reward stage. So there's going to be a proposal stage in Voltaire. You're going to be able to submit a proposal. While it is still federated, it's probably going to have some sort of format, like they're going to release some sort of format of how to write a proposal. But think about 5-10 years from now, when this thing becomes even more decentralized and IOHK is not in charge anymore. Proposals are probably going to take many, many different types of formats. And I see the birth of multiple industries happening because of this. I feel like in the future, there are probably going to be proposal writers, people that help people that are trying to develop dApps create a proposal, people that are trying to do community projects create a proposal. So you may have companies that are emerging that are just selling proposal services, or selling services of how to correctly market your proposal in order to get funded by the community. It's really gonna birth a new kind of ecosystem. In Charles's keynote presentation, he drew an analogy to the eBay, to how eBay started and how they have tons of sellers and power sellers within their ecosystem. This is exactly what Cardano is analogous to. Cardano is that system that's in place. It's setting up the tracks, and then you're going to be able to do so many different things. And there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be able to generate income, live within this ecosystem, maybe make this their full-time job, because there are going to be that many different job opportunities within Cardano, whether you are writing proposals, whether you're helping community members submit their proposals, whether you have an idea, whether you have a dApp idea, whether you want to create this business model within Cardano, whether you want to sell this, or you sell this product or sell this service. we're all going to become power sellers within this ecosystem, which is going to be an amazing experience. So I was very excited about that. So what else did I want to talk about? So I also see that, like, when I'm thinking about how people are going to be submitting their proposals and marketing their proposals, people that have platforms, such as if you're writing for the community, or if you're creating YouTube videos, or if you are evangelizing in certain ways, these people are going to be the conduits of how to get the message out, how to get proper support for your project or your service that you're offering, which is going to be a wonderful experience. I'm going to go back to the chat to see what everyone thinks about Voltaire, but Voltaire was definitely one of the biggest highlights of the summit. I wasn't expecting Voltaire 2020, and I have a couple dates for you, actually. So let me get this correct. 1 second. Okay, so Voltaire is definitely releasing in 2020, and a call for proposals is going to be happening in July. What month are we in right now? July. So within the next few weeks, we're going to be hearing a call for proposals in Voltaire. And like I said before, you don't have to be some super developer. You don't have to be creating the next biggest dApp or DeFi solution. You could be a simple businessman that is trying to just create a product, or a businesswoman that is trying to sell a service or sell a product within the Cardano ecosystem. The possibilities are endless. We're going to be hearing a lot more details this month. So it's going to be happening in July. And yes, that is going to be wonderful. So let me jump over to the chat section. Rob Van Leuven says, is delegating like crowdfunding? Not necessarily, because you're not really necessarily donating, or you're not sending your money to a particular wallet. Like crowdfunding, I consider crowdfunding model like Kickstarter. You create a product, you put a little short video about that product, and you ask for money in order to fund that product throughout the entire product cycle. And once people know about it, or it's marketed a certain way, then you, person X, person Y, can sit in front of their computer and say, I want to fund that project. It's $150 for this tier, $300 for this tier, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if that's going to necessarily be a type of business model within Voltaire, but the way I understand it is there's a treasury system within Cardano. So every single transaction sends a little bit of ADA to that treasury system. The treasury has been building up throughout the entire ITN. It's a pretty large war chest right now. So you pay a stake pool operator fee. There's a small little treasury fee before it even gets to your wallet. And that treasury pot is constantly growing. Those are the community funds right there. That's what we're going to be using in order to fund projects within the decentralized ecosystem. That treasury is going to constantly be expanding, because as long as people are spending ADA or transacting ADA, there's going to be money within that treasury. So it's going to be constantly replenishing, and that's what we're using to vote on certain protocol updates, or proposal updates, or business updates, or whatever idea person X, Y, or Z may have. That's how it's going to work. So it's not necessarily like the crowdfunding model. Nathan says, how do we verify the treasury money is going to be used as intended after voting? Great question. So I actually have a notes from that presentation. So there's a proposal, voting, and reward stage. So after you write a proposal and submit the proposal, the community can view proposals, you discuss it in the voting stage, and then the reward stage happens. And this is where you discover the results. And there are going to be these things called progress reports that are going to be submittable by the company or individual that is creating that proposal. So they're going to have to be updating through progress reports exactly the work that they're doing. So if you're not happy with the way people are using your funding, you can always revert that reward stage back to another stage. So projects can go, it's not like they stay in one stage forever. If the community is unhappy continuously funding a certain proposal and it's not conducive to how they feel like they need to spend their funds, then I feel like it can be reversed and go back to another stage. So they have to submit some kind of reports. There's some kind of accountability that allows people to understand exactly how people are using your ADA or how people are using the treasury money. I'm sure more details will be announced in July, but that's what I received from the Dr. Dor Garbash session. So you can also check out on the Cardano Virtual Summit. They have the pre-records of everything that happened throughout these 2 days. I don't know how long they're going to be available, and they're probably going to be uploaded to YouTube, but Dr. Dor Garbash did a great presentation.